Hello Leo friends, my name is Annie Botticelli and welcome to my January 10th, 2020 full moon lunar eclipse at 20 degrees of Cancer report for you. This report is going to go into lots of detail about the areas of life and the very specific occurrences that are more likely to occur for you this eclipse season. And I say eclipse season because the months before the eclipse, these energies start cooking up. And actually the storyline of the Cancer Capricorn eclipse cycle started in the middle of 2018 and it goes to the middle of 2020. So here in the December January eclipse cycle, we are at another chapter in this continuum nearing the end of the storyline. So there are going to be a lot of dramatic breakthroughs, a lot of dramatic endings, tearful goodbyes, blissful hellos, wonderful new open doors for experience, surprise trajectory changes, a lot of drama for better and worse. Some people experience eclipses more in the backdrop or in an internal way where you have to search a little bit more for how they're manifesting for you. But other people, and it's usually depending on the angle of how it hits all the planets in your chart, which we can't see all of that in a general report. We can see a little bit of that, but we can't see as much of it as we would need to see the total picture for you. But you'll know if it's hitting you in a tight angle because you'll be experiencing major changes. And for those people, you're going to be going into a whole different realm of experience. So some people just hold space for others during eclipses, and some people have all the changes going on, and then some people are doing both. So definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, where you can see lots of astrology blogs, lots of detailed astrology blogs. I'm known for my details. You can sign up for my free email newsletter where you get a written report, a detailed written report of the aspects to come a month early. So the exact aspects, what planets are involved, what you may see, so that you have it for your planning purposes. And you'll also get my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine for free when you sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. Definitely look Annie Botticelli YouTube, this channel right here, for your monthly report. This is a bonus report, so you'll want to check out those always a month early. And you'll also want to check out a written horoscope that I write for you at cozybysweetstarlight.com. Between all of these resources and all sorts of other blogs, I have you very well covered to try to help you make the most of these energies and to understand them. And for the websites I just gave you, they're in the notes underneath every video. So if you missed that, you can check them out there. You might have to click on the More button. Okay, so for those of you who've been watching my videos for a while, you will be pleased maybe to learn that I have figured out how to do split screen videos, which means that instead of just switching over into the visuals like I like to do to show you why things may happen, not just what may happen, you'll be able to see me on the screen at the same time as I show you the visuals. So we're going to start that now. To best use this information, you will want to know where in the Leo spectrum you are. So basically early degree placements are our July born, or 0 to 9 degrees, middle around August 1st through 10th, or 10 to 19 degrees, and late around August 11th through the rest of the sign, or 20 to 29 degrees. If you have a Leo moon, Leo rising, Leo sun, this report is for you. And I always strongly recommend that you watch reports, not just mine, but all reports for your sun sign and your rising sign at least, because there are different windows out of your astrological viewpoint, and the moon is an additional one if that doesn't get too much for you. So like this view out of my RV, I'm traveling still, and that view out of that RV window are both happening at the same time. It's the sun view, that's the rising view. So they're just showing more of a total picture of what it's like to be here in this experience. Okay, so a quick overview. Leo, January 10th, 2020 eclipse, lunar full moon at 20 degrees of Cancer is going to affect all zodiac signs in the 4th house. It will affect all Leo signs in the 12th house. I'll explain what these mean soon. But middle to late degree placements, you have the additional potential of seeing an 11th house manifestation. When we look at a whole house astrology chart, we would just be saying 12th house manifestations for all Leo placements. But when we look at the Placidus chart, we can see, if we're looking carefully and want to deal with it, that those potentials for the other house open up. Okay, so let's see on the early chart. I'm using December chart, but don't let that throw you off, because the thing we're looking at is a static point on the chart. It's an eclipse at a certain degree. It's not planets in transit, so it doesn't really matter which chart we're using, okay? 20 degrees in the early chart is very clearly in the 12th house. something I want you to notice, and this is why I do this. Okay, look at this cluster. See how it's in the 5th and 6th house here? When you go to the middle degree chart, see how a whole bunch of stuff that's in the 6th house shifts over here to the 5th house. And then as you look at the late degree, see, that shifts even more into the 5th house. Okay, where that 6th house is almost empty. So the chart view, depending on your degree, is really relevant. Okay, and it is again here. So when we look at the eclipse at 20 degrees, you can see it shifts over clockwise or to the right, and that puts it on the line. So it could be in the 12th house for middle degree placements, but it could be in the 11th house. We'd be missing a huge bank of information if we weren't looking at this. When we look at the late degree, many of you are actually going to have that eclipse in the 11th house, not even in the 12th house at all. But because it's going to be close to the 12th house, you all do have a potential to have it manifest there. So we're going to list that for you as a potential, but I want you to know that it's more likely going to be in the 11th house. Okay, so what's going to happen now? Where's my little picture here? Come on, everybody. There you go. Now I'm going to drop in a tutorial for the 12th house manifestations. Now these are based on my doing thousands of live readings. These are based on, you know, me doing horoscopes in detail for many years and 20 years of tracking them myself. I'm also going to drop in then a 4th house tutorial because every zodiac member will have that potential and it will be notable. So you want to watch that. If you're a middle to late degree person, so basically if you're an August born Leo, you're definitely going to want to stay tuned for the last tutorial part, which is the 11th house tutorial, because that is going to be very likely going to happen for you. Eclipse time is a time for drama, a time for accomplishment, a time for excitement, and things coming to fruition in a big way, surprise changes, or movement along a path as expected. When there are eclipses in the 12th house or Pisces, they tend to bring even more emotion. All eclipses bring emotion because the moon is involved and the moon rules our inner realm. So eclipse time tends to be pretty emotional. Most of the time, there's some way, if you look hard enough, where you can see the eclipse energies working in your life. Some of the manifestations are more subtle and they're working on the inner layers. So they might be a little bit harder to track and see in a tangible way. And that could be especially true for a Pisces or 12th house manifestation. Also, depending on the mathematical connection between the actual degree of the eclipse and your personal placements, could make the difference in whether or not this is an eclipse or an eclipse cycle that really is bringing the biggest changes for you, or if you're just holding space or watching other people to go through things. Sometimes if you're not having the eclipse hit you in a very notable way, then you're holding space for other people as they go through changes. But it is definitely important to understand the nature of the eclipse in the certain placements, because a lot of times there are subtle workings maneuvering around in the backdrop away from our general consciousness or awareness, that if you knew it was going on, you could work with it more closely. And definitely in general, high emotion for all eclipses, especially for water energies, especially the 12th house and Pisces. And the emotion can be for better or worse. So something that tends to be highlighted more at eclipse time in the 12th house or Pisces is dream time. Issues with sleep, resolutions for sleep issues, notable dreams, dream activity, starting to step into different ways of working with your dreams, either just naturally it happening or you purposely using it this way, like lucid dreaming or dream journaling to help you recall and make sense and most use the energy of your dreams. And the dream energy is very much related to the subconscious mind. So harnessing and having a greater level of mastery over your subconscious mind is one of the goals of this eclipse cycle. And sometimes that comes through mental instability, showing you where you really have places in there to master. Some of it comes through spiritual breakthrough. Fears and addictions tend to come into the forefront in a big way. I always call this 12th house, or the energy of Pisces, the Harry Potter energy. So where he's got these fears, and they manifest that they seem like really, big ways outside of him. But really it's his own inner journey. It's his own inner battle. And so the battles that we have internally tend to be highlighted in this 12th house. It's very much like an attic where there are resources, inner riches that are there to be cultivated and to be mined. And there are also fears and dirt and, things to be wiped and cleared and organized and set straight in order to make the most of that space. So this eclipse time might be a time where you have to face a fear, but that's also the time where you can get through the fear. And if there's an addiction involved, that may come into the forefront. Healing of your mind through psychology, hypnosis, neurofeedback, or other help from other practitioners is a very major theme that tends to come up at this time. So if you tend to have some instability in that place, you don't have to bring fear into the situation of worrying what's going to happen. You can be proactive, get your team together, know that you may have more activity in that realm, and take a more active role through diet. Diet can very much affect the psyche. Sugar levels can affect the psyche. And imbalances, chemical imbalances can also. So educating yourself on these topics could be a manifestation of the eclipse, or having breakthroughs. The taking of a retreat or sacred space, going on a retreat, is an amazing way this energy can manifest. Claiming of your sacred space. All people are sentient beings, which means that we're feeling our way through life. When our fields interact with other people's fields, sometimes it's hard to differentiate what we've got going on from what other people have going on. So really owning your sacred space, making a breakthrough, making a commitment during this time, and having the impetus to do that is one of the major manifestations. So taking space within your home, where you claim it and you own that space energetically. Clearing out your energy field, making, standing on the earth with bare feet is one way that I do it. Epsom salts or sea salt baths. You can use essential oils. You can use meditation. You can use prayer. Whatever it is that helps you to clear out that auric field around you. We all have an auric field around us. This isn't metaphysical anymore. Science is catching up with being able to sense these subtle fields. So imagining that auric field around you and imagining it accumulating with other people's energy and your own, and imagining it be cleared out and putting systems together to clear it out are all part of this eclipse cycle, because that affects your psychological and emotional state. So the more you can step into rhythms like this and practices that help you to, use your subconscious space, including asking yourself, your subconscious, a question before you go to bed, and asking for answers in your dreams or when you wake up. So just working with that cosmic soup and the Akashic records and just the place where there's all one, and getting insights from that place. So any inner work. The Presence Process by Michael Brown is one of my all-time favorite inner work resources. Also, EFT, the Emotional Freedom Technique, is a very free, there are tons of free resources on it that you can use to master your subconscious mind more and to harness your unruly negative patterning and face your fears and addictions. Another way that this 12th house and Pisces energy can manifest is with artistic and creative expression. So just a time to be quiet, to have a new creative project, to have an old creative project come to fruition, to have changes with your creativity cycle, to have anything having to do with the space that you do your creative work, or creating a space for your creative work, whether that's space like making the time or an actual space in your home. Those are all ways that I have seen, and these energies manifest, and how you can best use the energy at this time. On the topic of addictions, major breakthroughs or occurrences can happen along these fronts, and this is an amazing time to be able to actually face an addiction and to get help for it and to get freedom from it and to really crack the matrix of the patterning. But a lot of times that might need, first of all, some outside support, but also inner accountability and doing the work in order to clear it. I have seen many people have major spiritual insights, major connection from the spiritual realms, ethereal support, ethereal connection with people who've crossed over, major insights that can be life-changing occur in this cycle. Okay, so eclipses tend to bring changes in trajectory, new opportunities coming to fruition of things in process, surprises, drama, bright openings, notable things in the forefront of home and family, and some other headers. So we're going to look at some common ways that I have seen the fourth house or Cancer eclipses manifest. Home and housing. So many people will move during an eclipse cycle where there's a fourth house or Cancer eclipse, moving to a new place. Some people, this will include like a bilocation or a multiple location. Like if you have a house already, you can set up a second residence or a different residence in addition to the one you already have. For some people, it manifests as just a complete, clean, different move. Sometimes it's a temporary move or a temporary change in housing. This energy very much can rule sales, or sales or purchases of homes, getting a home ready for sale, purchasing a new home. Even though eclipse time very often brings these into the forefront, definitely always pay attention to the other information I give for the horoscopes at that time to understand how other transits that can be occurring at the same time as the eclipse season can interfere or enable contractual arrangements and big steps. Very often, a fourth house eclipse will have to do with the changing of occupancy within your home. So let's say you're there and you stay there and the house is the same, but someone moves out or someone moves in. Or you start using your home for home-based business. The starting of a home-based business is very common. Bringing on, an Airbnb or any other home-based business where you're working online. Making repairs or making additions or changes to the home. And again, with these kind of things, definitely pay attention to the other aspects of the time because, minor repairs can be fine at any time, but if you're going to do major additions, there are other astrological factors that I always speak to in the horoscopes that can be relevant. But I do see these eclipses tend to bring movement along these fronts with things like this. Changes in or notable things going on in family, and that's your family that you live with or your family that you came from. Drama, solutions, healings, people getting married, so there's new entrances to the family, people having separations, children, new children coming into the family. I see a focus on ancestry and genealogy come up very often in this. You might find out you have a relative that is notable. You might connect with someone in your genealogy. You may become really interested in tracking your ancestry or genealogy. Or someone may contact you. Childhood psychology is another thing I see come up. There are rhythms at play in our lives. And if you, and things tend to be cyclical. So the things that you're experiencing now, a lot of the ways that you feel right now, you felt as a child, and that had to do with childhood imprinting and many other factors. But the relationship between what you're experiencing now and what happened as a child, and possibly even prior to, if you believe in past lives or if you believe in genetic memory manifesting as our experience. So, attention to what's happening now as it relates to the past and doing inner work to help stop the cycles for yourself and your family. So that I see that often come up with the fourth house eclipses or Cancer eclipses. So in general, with the fourth house or Cancer eclipse, be prepared to focus on your inner world or the things closest to you, like home level, family level, history, and your emotional or inner space. Eclipses usually tend to bring something very emotional that's occurring. And the emotion is centered around the house and the sign that the eclipse is occurring. Some people will have close mathematical tie-ins to their personal chart with certain eclipses that will make them more of kind of in the experience of the changes. Other people will have others around them going through changes and hold the space for those people. And some people have both going on. You know, you'll notice there are times where you're like, what the heck is going on here? Everyone's going through so much. And a lot of times those coincide with these eclipse cycles. When there's an eclipse in the 11th house or the sign of Aquarius, there are certain sectors of life that are brought into focus. Eclipses tend to bring dramatic endings, things coming to completion or fruition, like through goal and accomplishment, or sometimes through just an abrupt surprise ending that's completely out of your control. Sometimes they also bring in new opportunities, brilliant, awesome things that just come to you or that come from things that you cultivated in the past. So the 11th house and Aquarius sectors that will tend to be highlighted with these eclipses in these areas, are friendships. Sometimes a sudden incoming of a new friend or a person of consequence, whether it's an acquaintance or a key contact, or the ending of a friendship through someone moving or, transitioning, or through an argument or a falling out. Falling outs with a friendship can occur. Changes in your relationship with certain friendships can also happen, where maybe there's been an unhealthy dynamic and you could be moving along a continuum to having more functionality in this key relationship, but also in your relationships in general. Changes to your place in the group. So finding your footing, like finding your tribe, finding, people who you resonate with and your place within that group, or feeling alienated in certain groups and having to regain your footing and figure out where it is you feel like you really belong. Friendship circles can change. Dating opportunities can come, especially through online or friends trying to set you up with somebody. And definitely with things like this, pay attention to what the other factors I talk about as far as personal planet retrogrades, that flavor the period of time that the eclipse is happening. But in general, dating and acquaintances and friendship circles and groups, like let's say you're part of a philosophy group, or let's say you're on a team of some sort within your work, or for a hobby or for an interest or something like that. Changes in those sectors are very common at this time. Finding a new group is also very common, or losing resonance with a current group. People, when they're having eclipse cycles in the 11th house, will often be reevaluating their friendships and reevaluating their social circles, and also reevaluating social media and the relationship to social media. So the starting of social media accounts, the progressing of social media work, or the stepping away from and reevaluation of social media. Anything internet-based is also here. So, launching websites, internet work, getting your work out into the world in a bigger way. Creating online communities or anything community-based in person. So having community efforts, grassroots things, are all coming into the forefront with a greater frequency. Work with large organizations, either as part of one or like collaborating with. And humanitarian efforts, so nonprofits or working with something that's already established, can tend to come up in a bigger way. The 11th house and the energy of Aquarius is also the sector of your big dreams, not the ones you have at night, but the dreams that you have for your life. So evaluation and reevaluation of what it is that you would love if you didn't have any limitations, if you didn't have any obstacles. What is it that you would just really love to do? So the figuring out of that and movement along actually doing something on the topic of your big dreams is something that can also come in a big way. So opportunities, resources, shifts in that arena, or those arenas, would be more likely at this time. Inventions and anything else with technology or future-based efforts are also related to this house and sign, as are unconventional relationships, unconventional ways of doing things. So like cutting edge, new information, being on the leading edge of expansion. So projects that could be related to things like that can come to fruition, or can come in a big way, or move along in a progression. I hope you feel very prepared now for eclipse season and understanding what kinds of changes may be ahead for you. Definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, to check out all of my astrology blogs and all of my other goodies there, including when you sign up for my free email newsletter, you will get a month early a written general transit report, including all of the notable aspects, the dates of the aspects, and what you can expect from each. And you'll also get my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine for free when you sign up for my free email newsletter, besides other goodies there. If you want written horoscopes by me, go to cozybysweetstarlight.com, and all of the links that I give you are also in the notes underneath. If you just click more underneath the video, you'll see all the websites there. So at cozybysweetstarlight.com, I have lifestyle blogs for healthy living, and I also have written horoscopes, again, up 1 month early. So you can check out what else is going on for your sign 1 month early. If you'd like to learn astrology and you resonate with how I teach, then definitely check out my astrology apprenticeship program, also at anniehelpsyou.com. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I hope you have a wonderful eclipse season. Definitely check out my horoscopes, my individual horoscopes for each sign for you on my YouTube channel, Annie Botticelli YouTube. You can check out my monthly reports. I always have them up a month early. And definitely also check out the November report, because I do talk about the December eclipse and its manifestations in there. And those eclipse manifestations can echo out, January, February, even March, beyond. So to have a good understanding about where the first eclipse hit, you can check out my November report, where I go into lots of details about that for you. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.